Let's talk to Michael in New York. You're on the air. Go ahead. Michelle, go ahead.
Hey, Alex. I just want to call you and thank you. About 2.5 months ago, I called in and talked to you, and listening to your show really inspired me. I've worked human services all my life. I'm a 40-year-old woman. And, I started to get involved with Blog Talk Radio, and over the last 7 weeks, I have 2 shows on a station on Blog Talk Radio, and, I'm helping spread the word with you. I mean, it's a time that we take a stand. President Obama has made his speeches about stop listening to alternative media, and now he wants to restrict it, and it's time that we take a stand. If we don't stand now, we're going to have nothing to stand for as time goes on. And, so I'm on Freedomizer Radio, and I've learned so much, and I learned so much from listening to you. And, I'm just very grateful for everything that you do.
You don't need to thank me, ma'am. It's about the info. America is starting to wake up. The rest of the world is waking up because the tyranny has gotten so bad. And the tyrants knew we'd wake up, so they built up this giant infrastructure to oppress us when we woke up. But that never works in history. In the end, they fall. The question is, do we have to go through this living hell first?
Well, we are going through this living hell, but you know what? These trolls mean that you're doing the right thing, too. That's the other thing. So they're frustrating, but when people want to lash out at you, you're getting the message out there, and you're doing a phenomenal job. So,
well, ma'am, I'm just trying to survive, and I appreciate your call. What's happening and what's going on is that people have lost confidence in the system, and people now are realizing that there are special interests that are controlling their life through government and through regulations, who themselves are then exempt from the rules that they've put in place for everybody else. And that is the essence of discrimination, the essence of tyranny. We're going to be taking first-time calls, like I said, moving quickly through the calls on the IRS scandals. Do you think it's going to bring Obama down? Are the Republicans afraid to go there because they know Obama has got a lot of dirt on them? What do you think is going to happen on that front? What do you think about our government funding al-Qaeda and the fact that that's now mainstream news? I listen to talk radio. I read the newspaper. It's being discussed. Should we be funding al-Qaeda? It is al-Qaeda, actual real al-Qaeda in places like Libya and Syria, and using them to attack southern areas of Russia and some of the satellites that are still attached to Russia. I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com. In the world, our government, our criminal government, is spying on people, intimidating people. Basically, you name it, they're doing it right now. And we either get upset about this and take action and use this corruption and this awakening to reverse the pendulum, or, which happens a lot in history, it just all gets accepted, and then we know we live in a third world country with a bunch of paramilitary crazies ruling over us. There's an amazing video compilation, an article by Steve Watson up on Infowars.com. Nix Obama, powerful video, compares scandal responses, because I've been seeing that myself, how he looks and acts just like Richard Nixon, and the rest of his administration does, and the parallels are incredible. Also, Kissinger, U.S. and China to collaborate on globalist world order. That is some of the news that we're going to be breaking down on that front. and I'm going to play Kissinger being confronted. I also talked to the head police officer over 3 different jurisdictions that are going to be in and around Bilderberg. I ended up talking to him today, and I was a little bit cynical when the guy said he was a listener, but talking to him, he sounded pretty genuine and you know, was describing stuff he'd listened to on the show and said that he wanted to make sure that free speech was honored in the free press and demonstrators, and that they have moved to make sure that Bilderberg has to pay for the cost of policing, and that they are wary of provocateurs, and that he was aware that Bilderberg reportedly had a history of staging things themselves to demonize people. So that's in Watford, just northwest of London. That's an interesting article up on Infowars.com. Kindergartner forced to apologize for brandishing tiny Lego gun. You have all these violence in movies, TVs, shows, sell all these toys, Nerf guns, you name it. And then when kids play with them, the police get called. Or when your kid takes a Lego toy to school, they get kicked out of school or get suspended or have to apologize. You know, it's kind of like how there's bars everywhere and alcohol sold everywhere, but now the feds want to lower the alcohol level to 0.5. So if you even drink 1 beer and then go get in your car, you're going to be arrested. It's all just a way to get us into the system. And again, awakening to this, realizing this is going on, is the way to turn things around. Ben, Chris, Robert, Rob, Daniel, and many others, we're going to go to your calls right now. Have your point, have your question ready. And then when we start the next hour, I'll get into the Kissinger confrontation. Google is launching blimps to beam their signals and spy beams over you, whether you like it or not, and to fly around scooping up all your other wireless transmissions. I mean, the Google is the NSA, but it's the global on New World Order, Skynet, don't be evil garbage. You know, I wonder if I was in the ocean, if somebody had like stuck a big decal on top of Great White's head that said, don't be evil, or maybe a couple little pink flowers. Then people would jump in with the Great White and like, oh, you're my friend, because it said, don't be evil. You just put don't be evil on the side of a shark. It would like make it safe and nice. It's all just camouflage. Let's go ahead and talk to Ben in Missouri. You're on the air. Welcome, Ben.
Hey, Alex. It's great to talk to you. I'm a huge fan. I've been a listener since last year. I actually saw somebody with a Ron Paul bumper sticker, and right next to it, they had an Infowars sticker. So I ended up going to the site, and I've been a fellow extremist for, ever since. So what I wanted to talk about today was the police state here in St. Louis. Now, a couple weeks back, I was at my home and, just playing some guitar in the garage, hanging out. Nothing really that offensive, nothing that loud. Okay, so a cop comes, your neighbors called us, you're being too loud, what's your name? Okay, gave him my name. Well, let me see your ID. So, I'm at my own place. I got a fenced-in yard. I don't carry my wallet around with me while I'm at home. So, all right, well, what's your Social Security number? He says to me. So I'm like, well, why do I need to give you my Social Security number? Can't you just look up my information from, from your file here using my name and address? So finally he starts to get pretty upset with me because I won't, bow down and kiss his badge and kiss his ring, and just goes, give me your hands. So I back up and I'm like, whoa, what's going on? What are you doing? And, I think that eventually the story I ended up spending 24 hours in jail, in St. Louis City Jail, around a bunch of gang members who were snorting heroin. But I tell you what, Alex, by the end of my little vacation for a noise complaint, which I couldn't post bail for because it was $0, and I'm fighting it right now, but at the end of the whole thing, you'll be glad to know that I had basically converted and been preaching unity to these guys, and by the end of it, they were really upset to see me go. But the whole point of the whole story is, Alex, that, I think police who are trained now are trained much differently than they were before. I think they're trained to cover their steps, to make sure that you know, their fellow officers don't get in trouble, and to err on the side of, you know, violating people's rights and then covering their steps instead of erring on the side of, oh, well, I can't enforce this ordinance because it, you know, is really subjectively written, et cetera, et cetera. And I think these are the small things, the small battles that people are fighting on a day-to-day basis that are really, you know, it's kind of a microcosm of the bigger overall picture. And even for me to just, you know, fight this and go to court and say, no, I'm not guilty of this, I didn't do anything wrong, is just one small thing that I or anybody else could do to just stand up and say, I'm not going to take this anymore. So just wanted to share a quick story with you, Alex. Like I said, it's great to talk to you. It's great to be on the air. And keep up the good work.
Well, thank you, sir. Really great testimony, and how you found the broadcast via somebody putting an Infowars.com bumper sticker on their car. That's how we reach out to people. That's how we're going to change the future destiny of society and our culture. Good people can either stand up and say no to corruption, or we can just give into it, and then the pit of hell is the limit. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you. We're going to go to more calls here. But police are trained. There's terrorists everywhere. Everyone's an insurgent. Everyone's a suspect but government. And anybody that doesn't immediately follow their orders is a criminal who needs to be tasered and arrested. And again, a lot of police got into policing because of family or a need to serve, or it seems like a decent job when they get out of the military and they want some adventure. But I'd say if you look at the criminology, maybe 20% end up getting out of police academy, right around that number, are either sociopaths, sadists, psychopaths, high-functioning psychopaths. They're on power trips. And they're the cops that rape women. You know, they're the CPS people that rape little kids. They're the firemen that, you know, plant pipe bombs so they can save the day. They're the people that will use that to oppress and dominate folks. And government is now psychologically testing, not even so much looking for criminals, but for kind of dumbed down people that will get off on dominating people from a mindset of for their own good. And, I mean, I see the videos online all the time where the cops show up and they go, we had a report of yelling. No, everything's fine. And, well, we're coming to your house. No, it's all right. You know, the husband, wife, we're fine. Kids are playing in the yard. We don't feel like talking to you. You don't have a warrant. Well, come out of there or we're going to kick down your door. So they kick down the door. The people have their hands up, and they taser them as an act of dominance, as an act of, I'm going to punish you. They call that pain compliance. Pain compliance. And, I mean, I've seen videos from 20 years ago. It's in the extra of my film, Martial Law. And in that documentary, you know, we show in the extra where the LAPD and others have pro-life demonstrators that are just sitting on the sidewalk. And they come over with nunchucks, twist their arms till they compound fracture and bones pop out. And the federal judge ruled that was good because they didn't get up when they were told, so we're going to give you a compound fracture, which, by the way, can kill you. You know, we're going to basically snap your arm in a way meant to twist the arm off, show the bone. If you keep going, you can twist the whole arm off completely. It's not that hard to tear somebody's arm off with nunchucks. And they just twist. All right, okay, bone sticking out. And then the preacher and the priest, there's video, they fall over with their arms broken, and the cops come over with billy clubs and get a few extra beats in because this is like a sexual rape experience for them. There's blood. They've got some bones popped out, and it's so pleasurable to see the priest fall on the ground and then to come over and beat him with a billy club. It feels so manly, so good to hurt an innocent person who wants to draw attention to killing children. It feels so good doing that you want to continue it. And we now have state-run religion to a great extent in this country where they're, you know, teaching everybody that they need to worship the government. That's what the Bible says, instead of support a constitutional government. that it's really disgusting. But you didn't submit to that cop. You didn't produce your ID. And again, it would have been one thing if he had a report of a burglar and it was a real report, and then the cop shows up and you're running around the back of the house and they want to see your ID. But, you know, I've had alarms go off at my house before, back when I lived in town. And, you know, you put your shirt on, your pants on, you turn it off because one time a bird flew into the window and set it off. Another time, I don't know why it went off. Cops show up 20 minutes later. They're banging on the door. You go down. You're wearing shorts, T-shirt. You open your door and you go, yeah, I'm Alex Jones. I live here. And both the cops look at me. And they recognize, you know, who I am. And they're like, oh, yeah, Alex Jones. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, all right. And they start turning away. And I say, have a great night. They turn back around. They go, let us see your ID. And my office was right there. And I said, okay. And I got it. These cops know who they are. And I got it. And I said, here it is. And they didn't even really look at it. It was an act of domination. And I said, hey, you be safe out there. I said, you knew who I was. You just did that to make me do something. And I laughed at them. I mean, can you imagine? No, because they admitted, yeah, no, we thought that was you. Really? You know I live here. You can check the address. I am 1 foot away from you under a porch light. I didn't get into all this with them. And you want to see my ID just because I showed them humanity and said, hey, you guys have a great night. Be careful out there. I think that's what I said, yeah. Have a great night. Be careful out there. And it was a male cop and a female cop. It was the female cop turned around, looked at me. I got to be honest, it's female cops generally. I'm not saying they're all bad, but they're the worst. And said, let me see your ID. And I looked at her and I smiled at her. And I said, yeah, okay, I'll show you that. And then after I gave it to him, I got back and I said, you knew who I was, didn't you? And the cop behind her goes, yeah, we do. We thought that was you. I just looked at him and said, going back to exact memory, I said, you just did that to make me do that. And I laughed at him and shut the door. Because it's funny. I mean, it'd be like if, you know, they went to the mayor's house and they know the mayor, they've met the mayor. And, okay, mayor, can I see your ID? Just a mindless act of domination. Because I showed him humanity. See, I've noticed with police, especially the bad ones, if I bow up and am arrogant and really use an authoritative voice on them, they tend to, like, back off and get freaked out. But then with bad police, if you act friendly towards them, they act like it's weird because they don't want to be your friend. They don't want there to be a community. They've been taught, in fact, the FBI training manual will say, if someone chats you up and is nice to you, they may be an extremist. Let's go to another call here. Rob in California, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Alex. How are you?
Good, buddy. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. I am, in a sense, going through the process of waking up, have been for about a year or so. And one of the things that has really resonated with me and which spurred me to call in was the fact that you just said open lines. But back to my point, I'm an epileptic. I've had epilepsy since I was about 14. It was when I was first diagnosed. Moved out to California a couple of years back, changed medications, and got off the antidepressant that I was taking at the time to control the seizures, and am taking a new drug that is not an antidepressant, which has really accelerated the process of waking up. And every once in a while, I hear you talk about fluoride in the water as well as, you know, SSRIs and antidepressants. But what I'd really like to get your take on is if you could share some insight on either fluoride or antidepressants and how that factors into various neurological disorders such as the one I have with epilepsy or autism for that matter. That would be great. I think that, you know, situations like this and health concerns and foods are a real good way to connect with people who, like myself, for a long time didn't want to get in and recognize the fact that there is a larger dark force, say the New World Order and all that other stuff. That's a lot to grasp. But when you get on a topic such as like for me, epilepsy, there's something that I can really identify with, and for a lot of other people, it's food and water, and that can be the turning point in somebody who's almost there. But
no, I hear you, Rob, and again, we don't necessarily know that your epilepsy was caused by environmental issues. It may be genetic, but we know epilepsy and all their brain disorders are way up. Many anthropologists and archaeologists believe that before man even discovered the power to harness and use fire, we were involved in agrarian activities. That is, taking the seeds of plants and then replanting them to produce more. The very foundation of our modern civilization and human culture is centered around the planting and cultivation of edible plants, fruits, vegetables, nuts, you name it. And the globalists have been going after gardening. They've been harassing people that have gardens in their front yards or their backyards. They've called for licenses for people to have gardens because you can't trust prisoners in the police state America to be able to grow their own food. That's why I've come to the realization that we need to become self-sufficient. You need to be informed. You need to have the Second Amendment to protect yourself. You need to be politically active to wake up others. You need to filter your water. But you also need to plant a garden. Even if you live in an apartment, you can do this. If you live in the countryside, obviously you can do it on a grand scale. There are so many green belts in areas that humans don't even visit, nearby cities and in suburbs, where people are now more and more planting their own little private gardens and meadows and off the side of the road. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a revolutionary act to unplug from the television, to unplug from the computer and all the globalist propaganda, and to go out in your backyard or your front yard or planters at your apartment or on the roof of the building where you live, and to plant a garden.
Here are some of the amazing deals at Infowars Seed Center at InfowarsShop.com. The Survival Seed Vault by My Patriot Supply features only the finest survival heirloom seeds for a robust and hardy garden, even in the toughest of times. The ARC All-in-One Seed Kit contains 70 varieties of 50,000 seeds of fruits, vegetables, medicinal, and culinary herbs. All ARC seeds are heirloom. Each type is labeled and sealed separately for ease of use and longevity. The Deluxe Emergency Seed Bank combines 3 of Emergency Seed Bank's top sellers: the Family Survival Emergency Seed Bank, the Medicinal Herb Seeds Pack, and the Culinary Herb Seeds Pack. We also have starter varieties of the deluxe seed packages for fruit, salad, salsa, peppers, and medicinal herbs and more. Go to the Infowars Seed Center at InfowarsShop.com.
A little seed can grow a huge tree that produces fruit for up to 50 years. We have the best life bombs. That's what these are. We have the best weapons against death out there at the lowest prices, waiting for you to lovingly plant them and lovingly grow them and lovingly eat them and share them with others. We will strike back against the New World Order, and this is only one more initiative in our fight against them. So please join us at InfowarsShop.com, or you can link through at Infowars.com at the Infowars Seed Center. You know, we had that last caller who was bringing up epilepsy, and I've had Dr. Russell Blaylock, brain surgeon, on. I've had many other medical doctors on to go over what the bisphenol A and the hydrofluorosilicic acid, the fluoride, what all the different chemicals in the food and the water are doing, what the pesticides that are grown pharmacologically in the crops so that insects can't eat them, what that does to guinea pigs and things. And it's neurological disorders, the entire spectrum, depends on your genetics, what it's going to do to you. They're all just going straight up. This is what we talked about yesterday. Cancers going straight up. IQs going straight down. Sperm count going straight down. Female fertility going straight down. People ask, well, then why are lower class poor people able to have so many kids? Because they have them when they're about 12 or 13. And then, quote, middle class or wealthy people tend to start having kids at about 35, 40. And by then, you're infertile. And this stuff's all been actuaried out. I mean, they write books about it. Bertrand Russell wrote books. The White House science czar wrote books. Henry Kissinger, we're going to play the clip next hour. The video's up on Infowars.com. Was confronted about State Department Memorandum 200 for forced population reduction. And then said, "Get out of here, ridiculous," in his fake German accent. You know, he's got a brother, because they've lived in the U.S. since they were teenagers, who has no German accent. It's just completely fake. Dr. Kissinger. I mean, what a joke. He was getting an award by Wesley Clark. No, it wasn't Wesley Clark. It was General Petraeus, excuse me, who was talking about what a hero Henry Kissinger is. Kissinger's the one that engineered the sellout of our republic to China. Not to the Chinese people, but to the communist Chinese, to use them as a managed market to leverage out our communities. I mean, here's an example. I was reading the news yesterday. My son was at work and brought it to my attention that China can sell mahogany beds and stuff from Madagascar for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're allowed to ship their guitars. Of course, the owner of Gibson, the CEO, part owner, had talked about this on the show. They're allowed to ship all that in, violating the Carry Act, but that's left alone because they lobby Congress and the federal regulators. But then American companies can't go to other countries, get legal hardwood, bring it in, and make stuff here. Even if you can pay the living wage, pay the insurance, pay all the extra stuff, they won't let you get the wood to build it, and they will SWAT team raid you until you're shut down. The Lacey Act. And, you know, this is the type of stuff that they do. And because they used America's openness to shut us down. We were an open, free country by and large, wide open, and then we just allowed foreign bribery to go on, and now we are just being shut down. I mean, you know how much money you can make coming in and shutting down your competition? That automatically opens up the market for only you. Whether it's guitars, or whether it's electricity from coal power plants, or whether it's cars, or whether it's medicines, whatever it is. America is done if people like Henry Kissinger have their way. Our viewers have demanded it, so now you're gonna get it. More pro-Second Amendment gun shows in the month of June.
What we've learned is you cannot hide behind an I-beam when there's a 50 cal present.
Brothers in Arms, 50 cal ammo review, and more. Coming in the month of June to the Infowar. Let's go ahead and talk to Daniel in Canada, another holding of the German Queen of England. Daniel, you're on the air. Welcome.
Good afternoon, sir. This is your informative extremist from Edmonton, Alberta. I just wanted to bring up a couple few points, and then you can briefly discuss them, and you can bring up your thoughts after. So first thing I want to talk about today, especially from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I know a lot of listeners are here from Canada, but I wanted to bring this to their attention. Recently, police officers on their uniforms are now attaching cameras, and they'll be recording every confrontation they have with a suspected criminal, so they can have this in court, I guess. So watch out for that one.
Well, there's no perception of privacy in public, but then cops act like when you have a camera that you've just you know, burned a house down or something. And again, they want to use the cameras when it can bolster their side of the story. That's why all of us need to have cameras as well.
And just like that new Tyranny app you guys released not too long ago, that would be an effective Tyranny Watch, I believe it was called. That's on Nightly News. That would be a good counter for that one. But moving quickly here also, recently our new mayor, Stephen Mandel, stepped down. And this is quite getting my, it's making me nervous because basically, if this new mayor stepped down, he's been on his 8th term already. And when he's stepping down, I'm really scared they're going to get some Fed in there, and it's just going to just completely change our city, because we're a smaller city. We're not really the biggest in Canada, but we are quite a big chunk some. And new mayor is going to be elected pretty soon, and I'm going to see how that's going to be. And also, not too long ago, during the May 2nd, I think it was the Osama bin Laden fake death, and there was an Infowars article saying, beware, be cautious for heightened alert attacks from the State Department released that, or the State of Defense. And on that same day, there was multiple bomb threats all over Canada as well. We had a couple bomb threats close to my house, and we also had...
Sure. Well, I mean, who has the motive to put out bomb threats? Government, because then it gets to pose as the savior. Thanks, Daniel. Robert in California, you're on the air.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. How you doing today?
Not doing too well, actually. Go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to congratulate you last week for Rachel Maddow coming out and attacking you after Piers Morgan and some of these other acts that are happening. This just goes to show you how effective you are becoming, and I just wanted to thank you for a driving force.
Brother, you don't need to thank me, man. I'm just trying to survive here. I mean, only a crazy person would not fight these tyrants. And again, Rachel Maddow has no audience on her own. The reason Piers Morgan was so big was that it was aired all over the world, and it was put on television everywhere. It was a huge media event to have the trance broken. But I hear you, and I appreciate you calling in. What's on your mind? Because I see you want to talk about Benghazi wars, etc.
Yeah, I just everything that you just keep pounding and pushing out there is really, something here eventually is going to stick. I mean, I pray to God that this is going to come down. I pray to God for you and your crew that you guys are safe. And when I say thank you, I mean thank you, because you helped wake me up and to start really looking at these issues. And as soon as I had a buddy who came back from Hawaii years back and watched the program, and it was your buddy that you helped produce that the 9/11 documentary. That was a wake-up call for me back then. And I've just really enjoyed over the years helping to educate other people when it comes to chemtrails. And I just really appreciate your driving force, because you helped...
Brother, kudos to you as well. We'll be right back.